Dear Girl Quest books, and I just finished The Children of Gods and Fighting Men by Shauna Lawless. This is the first book in the, I believe it's called the Gel Song Saga trilogy. The next one I think is The Words of Kings and Prophets. So I just finished this. I listened to some of it and read it. I kind of like to go back and forth on books if I can. And this is a historical fantasy set in late 10th century Ireland. So we're looking at the 990s mostly, and it's predominantly focused on two characters. Gormla, who is a Fomorian and is kind of like this Viking Irish queen, and then Fola, who is a member of the Tuatha De Danann, and she's like on a mission to spy on this really important historical figure named Brian Boru. And it's a really interesting journey with these two, because one's hiding, one's trying to do some investigating on what's going on, and it's just a really, really cool dive into one of my favorite subjects, which is Irish history, but also fantasy, because both are magic users. Fola does mostly healing. Gormla is a Fomorian, which she's not the only one, but she's one of two, and her powers mostly come from fire, and it's all about her surviving and trying to make sure her son Citric is the king of Dublin and survives. She's focused completely on the well-being of her son Citric, whereas Fola, her motivations are more in conflict with the current power base of the Tuatha De Danann in this setting. So really cool concept. I read the historical note by Shauna Lawless after I read it, and I agree wholeheartedly that, as much as I like to, I'm being a history guy, a history teacher, when I'm reading about history and literature, I kind of take a step back, because I knew some things, like she kind of changed some dates to make things match her story. Cool. I'm cool with that kind of stuff, especially with historical notes. That is where I'm like, I get it, cool, thank you for letting me know. Like, that is one thing that I really appreciate anytime history is used in a work of fiction, is like a note by the author at the end, like, hey, just so you know, I had to change this to make this fit the story. This is what actually happened. Like, I love that. And I really loved this book. I thought it was really interesting. I loved the just throwing you into this, what could be a confusing thing for someone who has no idea about this era of Irish history, and just like some of the words and the stuff going on between the Vikings and the Irish, and then there's also the English stuff going on. So really cool book. I will definitely be checking out the rest of this trilogy, and because this is an Irish history fantasy book, I thought I would throw out a few suggestions. So if you enjoyed this, I would say check out a historical fiction book that's got a little bit of magic in there, but in The Last Kingdom by Bernard Cornwell. This is like a 13-book series. It's a Netflix series as well. I watched most of the series before I read the books. Absolutely love the books. It's like the Netflix series is like 2 books a season or something. So definitely can't go wrong with this series. If you've read this already, this is still one of my favorites. And as far as history goes, I have a few things that I've picked out. So Davio Cronin, this is the 2nd edition. I used this for school. This is early medieval Ireland, 400 to 1200. Covers a lot of ground in this, but if you're interested in Irish history after checking out Shauna Lawless's books, I would say this would be a good place to start. Then I've also got Ireland in the Medieval World, and this is AD 400 to 1000. I used this one some. And then if you're like, because Shauna Lawless does a lot with the introduction of Christianity into Ireland, as far as like reforms and monasteries and stuff, this book, The Irish Church, Its Reform and the English Invasion, wouldn't be a bad place to go to. I just grabbed these 3 off the shelf just real quick. I got more, but yeah, if this is something you're interested in, I would say 100% just pick a spot and dive into it. But yeah, these are just a few things I grabbed off the shelf to go with this. Children of Gods and Fighting Men. And definitely gonna check out book 2 and 3. I think there might even be a 4th. I'm not sure, but yeah, these are some of the books that I felt that after I read this just kind of popped in my head that, hey, this is kind of relevant. So if you've read this trilogy, I would love to hear what you think about this trilogy, and if you've got any suggestions like other historical fantasy or fiction books, or even books based off of Irish history. I've got a few other ones that I bought at Barnes & Noble, but these are the more academic ones that I used for school. So yeah, if you've got something about Shauna Lawless, anything about historical fantasy, Irish history, whatever, love to hear it. Would love to hear what you think of the book. Recommendations, anything and all are welcome. Thanks for hanging out.